another episode of Two Sisters of a Certain Age, Conversations with a Therapist
and a Doctor.
I'm your co-host, Judy Grant, licensed marriage and family therapist.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Sophia Grant, board-certified pediatrician and board-certified child abuse pediatrician.
So as always, we just want to thank you for tuning in and listening to Tusoka. And back when Candy and I started this podcast, it was like, ooh, let's do this for funsies. It's like a sister thing.
Yeah.
We didn't know how many people we'd reach. One person, 12 people, 1,000 people. I don't even check the analytics on this, so I have no idea. But Candy just received an email from one of our listeners, and it just kind of validated the need for these sorts of spaces. And why it's important to talk about these things as women of a certain age, Black women of a certain age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's from Lauren, and I just read this before we started this recording. And she reached out because she's navigating life as parenting young adults. Mm-hmm. And it's a long email, and she closes with, "Thank you both for sharing your wisdom and experience with the rest of us. It truly helps." And it really did give us pause because, we hear from a lot of people who know us that they love the podcast. But for somebody who we don't know and has discovered the podcast and finds a source of comfort, it really means a lot. And thank you for sending that email. Yeah. And to any other listeners out there, please share your thoughts in our email, tusokapodcast@gmail.com, because it's not like we're overwhelmed with emails from listeners. But I appreciate it, and thank you, Lauren. And we're thinking about you.
Yeah, and Lauren, you put tears in my eyes this morning in the best possible way.
Right.
And the things that you shared, please know we get it. Everything that you wrote resonates with us as parents, as women of a certain age. So you're not alone. You're not alone in this journey, and we are here to do our best to provide a little bit of support, maybe some guidance. We don't always have the answers.
We frequently don't get it right.
Right. But that's what, community is. It's like I share, you share, we share. We see what we come up together, and we build this network together. So thank you, Lauren, for reaching out. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for validating Tusoka. That means so much. So we're going to segue into what Candy and I wanted to talk to you about today. And I didn't even know what to call this. So hold on. I have it here somewhere.
I think you texted me what you wanted to call this.
I texted you. Yeah, where is it?
Hold on, let me see.
Aging, ageless, and bold.
Okay.
Aging, ageless, and bold. Dedicated to looking, feeling, and living better as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that this can be a moment of like redefining who you are when you become of a certain age, figuring out what next steps are, whether it's me, whether it's Lauren or you out there, and how to embrace, everything about you at this age, and how to live your best life. Because Candy and I have talked about it. It's like we feel like we're just hitting our stride. Like I'm in my groove. Like, children are growing, work is fantastic, relationships, and I'm feeling very comfortable in my skin.
And we finally have the money to do the things we always wanted to do. Right. Oh my gosh. Talk about a dream deferred. Just for the past 40 years, I've been wanting to do stuff and didn't have the money. Now I finally have the money, so I'm doing all that stuff.
Do it and enjoy it. So we're going to go through a couple of things in regards to living that bold midlife life. and we're just going to chat about these. So I've
Mm-hmm.
got some things up here on my screen, and I'm just going to pose them, and Candy, you can respond, and we can just chit
Mm-hmm.
chat. Okay. Start by challenging the narrative. Who taught us what aging is supposed to look like?
Well, I know we were taught by media and what we see and
Mm-hmm.
what aging is supposed to look like. Um, I I remember the movie The Thornbirds, a TV movie
I
with
loved it.
Rachel Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a thing where Rachel it could be 63, 64, and she's natural. She has wrinkled, and people are calling her all types of names and saying she aged poorly and things like that. Whereas she just aged naturally. I think
Right,
we're
right.
so conditioned to saying, oh, so and so 60 whatever, and they've had plastic surgery, they look good. Where the bodies are supposed to be tight and thin, the faces are supposed to be tight, but men are not held to that standard. So
Mm-hmm.
we were raised to fight aging
Right.
rather than perceive it as a privilege.
And it is a
And
privilege to
yeah,
get to this age. It's a blessing
yeah,
because there's
yeah,
so many people who
yeah,
do not make it to this
yeah,
age and stage.
yeah. I am glad I'm here. I'm going to be 60 in a few months. And I am not without vanity. There are things I look at on my face. Like I just noticed this side just seems to like have a little, and I do this a lot where I just pull up my skin
Just do this.
and wonder
Oh,
and wonder like,
right
oh
there,
my
right there.
gosh,
That would be
if
nice.
if if I just had this tightened, and then I look at the hooded eyes that we inherited from mommy and daddy, and I
Mm-hmm.
just pull up a little bit, and then I'm like, ooh, I know it's a slippery slope. First of all, if I have money for plastic surgery, I would rather spend it on traveling. And
Right,
I don't have all that excess money to allocate this and this and this, and I'm afraid to go under the knife and end up looking like whoever. I'm not
right.
afraid to go under the knife for stuff I need, but just elective stuff, I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to do
Yeah.
that. And then I have a friend who we were talking earlier this week going in for her second facelift. Um,
Her second. Mm-hmm.
and that will make her happy. I know that that will never make me happy to
Right,
just because it's gonna fall. It's just going to happen. And I don't
right.
want to look like everybody else who's had plastic surgery. So just got to go with the flow.
So okay, so media does do a lot to teach us, right?
Hmm.
What that standard of beauty is,
Yeah.
and we know that that's all constructed in order to make us buy the face creams and
Uh
get the
huh.
plastic surgery and do the Botox and the this, that, and the other. But I also want to say that we learned about aging through our mother.
Hmm.
I'm not going to refer to daddy so much. I'm going to, as a woman, I'm thinking of my mother, and mummy age gracefully.
Hmm.
She was never, um, yeah, she dyed her hair for a minute, but she was never afraid just to look the way she did. But our mother always, she never like gave up.
Hmm.
It's like she could put her clothes on, she could do her hair, she could do her makeup and go out and look stunning and beautiful and what have you. But she didn't fall into this trap of I have to look a certain way.
No.
Um,
Mm-mm.
and I always think of myself in certain regards as being low maintenance. Um, and I think that's because Mummy was pretty low maintenance. We didn't see
Hmm.
her like doing a face full of makeup. We never saw her with her hair in curlers or,
Yeah.
sleeping in a chair because she
Yeah.
just got her hair done.
Yeah,
And
mommy
as
still can't do her makeup.
right, this
Remember,
is true.
like
This is
whenever
true.
it was time for mommy to wear makeup, she
Oh,
would
the
ask
eyeliner?
us to do. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And
I,
then I would do her makeup and I would try and put the mascara on and then she would just be blinking.
yeah,
It's like, oh my, I mean, she was consistent in the lipstick and
yes,
maybe some powder, but anything else she just never mastered. And
yeah.
she didn't need to. Yeah.
And I think about some episodes ago we talked about the legacy, and we talked about like that dignified grace of our aunties, right? That
Mm-hmm.
raised mummy, and how like they didn't fall into all of that. And I
Yeah.
understand it was a different generation, but like they presented with such poise and grace at whatever age and stage they were
Yeah.
at. So my personal messages about aging was that it can be done beautifully, gracefully, and with dignity. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be what the media is telling us.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. um okay, so make boldness tangible, not abstract. What does being bold look like right now, versus in your 20s or 30s?
For me, being bold means trying things that I maybe would have been afraid to try in the
Mm-hmm.
past. I think starting this podcast was very bold of us to
Yes.
do. And then I do a lot of things. I'm taking a trip to India with the kids and the Maldives. That's bold. I had the nerve to think that I had an idea that was compelling enough to turn into a book. And I wrote
Mm-hmm.
that book and I'm doing rewrites that now, but that's bold. So it's just kind of wanting to do things and doing it and not listening. Because, like I am not a toxically positive person. People, oh, everything is great. Oh, people like that get on my nerves. But the flip side of the coin is there are people who don't do anything but criticize
Right.
relentlessly what you're doing. Like,
Mm.
why'd you start the podcast? Who are you? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so what about this book you wrote? Is like you think people are gonna read it? I don't care if two people read the damn book. I don't care if it's one person who's listening to the podcast. I did it because I want to do it and it makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my kids are certainly going to be happy with this big trip that we're taking. I know I'm happy with this book I wrote, and I know I love this podcast. So being bold to me is pursuing things that people maybe wouldn't consider as an option, but doing it because it makes me happy.
Right. Right.
Yeah, what's a bold thing that you've done?
Okay, so I'm thinking bold in regards to putting ourselves out there in a way that I had not done before.
Mm-hmm.
When we submitted proposals for these international conferences, and
Yeah.
we were chosen 2
Yeah.
years in a row, we were chosen, and then we decided to take a break. That's pretty bold,
Mm-hmm.
to put ourselves out there, to travel to these distant lands,
Mm-hmm.
to present in front of tons of people,
International experts. Yeah.
international experts on these subjects, and hold our own and be confident in that. And then of course the fun part about like, oh, what's Sweden really like, let's check this out. Oh,
Yeah.
Scotland. And I think that was bold, because I had not seen that I would not have guessed that. I knew something at some point you and I would be doing something work related together.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't see that. And then that has propelled me to look for other conference speaking opportunities. And I
Mm-hmm.
told you just a little bit ago that I was selected to speak at a conference later in the summer. And my first thought
She's
was,
breaking up the band. She's going
my,
solo.
my first thought was, wait, I've only done this with my sister.
Ugh.
Like, um, but it's like I feel like that's bold, like really putting myself out there and opening yourself up to criticism, you
Yeah.
know? Hopefully everything will go well. I'm plotting it out, but I think that is a leap for us to take.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that is bold. With travel, and you and I have other travel plans, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but we're also, when we think about travel, it's not just the usual. We're thinking a little bit outside of the box, like things that we wouldn't ordinarily
Normally
think of,
do. Mm-hmm.
normally do, and doing them and wanting to be, you know, um, in those countries, in those cultures, something completely different from ours. So I think those are some bold steps. And the work that I do when I'm talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging today, that's incredibly bold. I
Yeah.
think of it like it's my job, but I also recognize that this job today, 2026, comes with a lot of possible consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am sometimes scared, but also sometimes like, no, this is what I have to do because this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think I'm allowed to be bold with my work because I know in my heart that this is the right thing to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
for society today.
Yeah.
Um, Let me think. Times that you spoke up when normally you wouldn't have. What did that look like for you?
Oh, well, I grew up ignoring racist comments and microaggressions because microaggressions, they're
Yep.
micro because if you respond, people can say, "What's her problem?" I meant it. It doesn't mean anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they pile on until you explode. Um, so my boldness is like calling people out by when they do things that are microaggressive or passive aggressive
Mm-hmm.
because like people make comments, say like a woman at work, not my job but the past hellhole where I worked, she was describing a situation and she's like, and this big black guy comes, and I was like, so because he was black, he was terrifying. I mean, why does that have to be included? But I it would
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or you hear people whispering and it's about you, and I'm like, hey, do you have a problem with? And then they backpedal. I do not care. I've never been one to want to be liked. I don't care. So I'm bold because if something happens, something goes down, I call people out right then and there because what if I don't, I'll be kicking myself for not standing up for myself. Like,
Yes.
why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I, as a kid you want to be liked and all of that stuff. Now I don't care if anybody likes me.
Yeah.
I really don't, because I know I'm doing my job at work, and the situation, but I had a friend of multiple decades, and she said something to me and I called her on it, and I held a mirror up to her behavior. I was willing to move beyond it because we had those years, those decades of friendship.
Right.
But it made her uncomfortable, and I've heard that she has said, "Yeah, Sophia, yeah, I was talking to her and she said I was racist." And I never ever said she was racist. I said she was exerting her white privilege, and I talked about all of
Mm-hmm.
that. But in her mind, she heard me calling her racist,
Right.
and she couldn't get past it. And, but yes, a friendship did end. But I'm glad that I said what I did because I am I'm tired of biting my tongue,
Yeah.
of ignoring things so other people are made to stay in their comfort. Meantime, I have to live in my discomfort.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm bold in calling out racism and things that are sexist. And anytime people want to talk bad about another group of people,
Mm-hmm.
because as a woman, as a black woman, as a person in a marginalized and oppressed community, I feel like I have to stand up for everybody else who is in that community.
Right.
I stand with Muslim people. I stand with people of color. I stand with women. I stand with people who are differently abled because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can do that.
And I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon with you because I've found that I will speak my truth and I will tell you if I don't like something. You know,
Mm,
if I'm having a conversation with someone and they make a comment about LGBTQIA community, can you explain what you meant by that? Or that was offensive. I do find myself um, calling out these microaggressions and standing up for injustices. And yeah, Candy, sometimes friendships have to, go different paths
hmm.
because your beliefs, their beliefs, the values do not align. They no longer align. And
Yeah,
I can't be quiet. I
yeah,
can't. It's like
yeah.
I'm too old to be here simply to make you comfortable.
Right,
Oh,
right.
you make a sexist joke, and I'm be like, no,
Yeah.
I can't
Is
do that
is is
anymore.
that how you laugh?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so mindset shifts that keep you ageless. Instead of focusing on appearance, center mindset, letting go of perfectionism, becoming more unapologetic about boundaries, and redefining success and fulfillment. Can you speak to any of those?
Um, Redefining success. I
Mm,
think, when I was younger, before I had kids, I wanted to be a doctor and be well respected and make good money. When I became a mother, success to me is raising these three kids to be independent and to choose to be good people and to choose careers that fulfill them. So that to me is success. Right now, my three kids are doing things that they love, and I'm happy and I will encourage them. And if I feel like there's something that they need to explore, or maybe they need to kind of propel themselves forward more rapidly rather than I'll say what I'm going to say. But I define my success by my three kids. Um, yeah, and I would hate for them to do something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm disappointed. Because would I feel like I'm unsuccessful then? I don't know. But
mm-hmm.
as mothers, we are so wrapped up in our kids. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right that I define success by these three kids that I've had who are contributing to society. I don't know if that's a right thing. Maybe success should be more introspective, the type of person I am, the work that I do, how kind I am. I don't know, but as Yaya pointed out many years ago, uh, you wouldn't have a life if it wasn't for us. That's what she told me.
Right.
But you pour into these kids and you spend so much time and
Hey,
you
Candy,
pray.
shift over a little bit. You're
Okay,
a little off
okay,
camera.
okay. You spend so much time
There
and
you
you
go.
pray over your kids. You really want them to be successful. And I'm not wrapped up in, so their life is my life. But I want other people to look at them and say, that's a good person.
Mm-hmm.
That person is doing good stuff, following their dreams. What a kind man. What a gracious woman. What a lovely person they are. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's wrong, but that's how currently
Oh,
I
Candy,
feel.
I don't think that that is wrong. I think you wanted to raise these children to be good human beings.
Hmm.
And when others can say, "Damn, those are good human beings," like, yeah, I
Yeah,
did my job,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like I did my job. One of the things that I was thinking about is letting go of perfectionism.
Oh,
And
God.
I have no problem saying, I don't know,
Hmm.
or I was wrong. I made a mistake. Asking the questions. Um, because I recognize that I don't need to know it all, and I don't need to come off as being perfect. And when I screw it up, I have no problem going back to someone and saying, "Oh my gosh, I made a mistake."
Yeah,
um I'm so sorry, I did X, Y, and Z, to try to make that repair. And I've apologized to my kids on a
yeah.
number of times, because I recognize, like, I made a mistake as
You weren't
mom.
your best self. Yeah, yeah,
I wasn't my best self in this moment, or didn't say this, or I should have, or what have you. So I have no problem acknowledging my flaws, if you want to call it that, mistakes, bad judgment, and coming back and making trying my best to make things better.
yeah,
uh, and
yeah,
and I think there was a time where it's like, oh, I screwed it up. Oh, but let me pretend like it wasn't me, or let me try to cover it up. I'm like,
yeah,
no, no, no.
yeah.
I just own it. So I feel more
Hmm.
confident in owning it, knowing that I've reflected on it, processed it, figured out, like, oh, I could do this better,
Right.
and then doing that better.
Yeah, yeah. I think when you have kids, things fall apart so frequently
Oh,
that
yes.
it forces you to let go of perfectionism.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What have we stopped caring about, and why is that freeing?
I don't care about how men perceive me.
Hmm.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't, I'm not trying to be attractive for a man. I'm not, I just don't care. I don't, I, I don't care about not being rude. Last night or yesterday, I'm so affected. Yesterday, I was practicing for when somebody tells me to smile. I was practicing my response and I recorded it.
Wait,
I
wait.
rec-
So, wait. Back up, sister. What do you mean when someone tells you to smile? Like they see you with a frowny
oh yeah,
face?
because you
Okay.
know it's like you smile more than I do, but like growing up, people smile. Why don't you smile? Why don't you effing smile? Does this look like a face that is approachable? What are you reading on my body that made you feel like you could come and tell me that shit? I was practicing that as a monologue, as if I was auditioning for a show just yesterday.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. You are totally affected. But I've
I,
known that my
I,
whole life.
because you know when stuff like that happens,
Oh,
I'm just like I walk away, but I want a comeback that people say,
right.
"Damn," you know, that will give them pop. I mean, just yesterday,
That's
I'm
hysterical.
not, I'm not afraid of being uh uninviting to
Right.
men, to the male
Oh,
gaze.
that
Yeah,
is hysterical.
yeah.
Um, there's like you can find on social media, like things that we just don't care about anymore because we're of a
Hmm.
certain age. And a lot I watch it and it's amusing. And a lot of the things, I'm not quite there yet because like you said, I still have a little bit of vanity going on, right? I still
Hmm.
want to put myself together. So I'm not leaving my house without a bra on. I don't do
Oh
that.
God, no, no.
I don't do that.
Well, and that is more for my comfort because
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable if I'm not wearing a bra because of the boobage. I have skin against skin. Boob sweat is not good.
No.
It's the only time I'm not wearing a bra is if I'm in the shower or sleeping. I wake up. I'm not one of these women who take off a bra when they come home.
No. No, no,
So
no.
so that's for me. That's for
Yes.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I recognize that I'm not willing to give up certain things that other women are, or I still care about certain things.
Mhm.
Um, but let me think of what it, I I don't care about like me showing up authentically because if I show up any other way, I'm doing myself a disservice.
Mhm.
And that goes back to like saying what's on my mind. If
Mhm.
I don't say what's on my mind in the moment, later on I'm going to be like, "Why the hell didn't you say that? What was
Yeah.
that all about?"
Yeah.
And then I'm questioning myself.
Yeah.
So I want to show up authentically as me all the time, whether I'm being stupid and silly or serious and thoughtful, whatever it might be.
Yeah, when I was younger, like when I would get dressed up or something was special, we would get our hair straightened, our hair pressed and
Right.
curled. Now, I mean, I've
Mm.
been chemical free for 30 years.
I
I've
can't.
been heat free since 2012. Now I do not straighten my hair for special occasions, because I feel like the way my hair grows out of my head is special enough. I will
Mm-hmm.
go to a stylist and get a natural style done, but I don't think that straight hair is more beautiful than my natural hair.
Yeah.
So that's something that and because I used to, you wear the little plaits and the bows, and then when you were grown or a tween, your hair was straight.
Yeah.
And I got my first perm when I was 17, and then did it for like 13 years. Stopped with it after I had punky. But yeah, I feel like my hair, how it is, the kinks, the curls, the grays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's beautiful enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you had my hair journey has been came a little bit later because I
Mhm.
stopped perming my hair about 4 years ago.
Mhm.
And for the long, because I'd been doing it most of my life, I'm like, how am I going to
Right.
manage my hair? Like,
Yeah.
what is this going to be all about? And um, I you can see my fuzzies and you can see
Mhm.
my gray. I never ever want to dye my hair. I'm not into
Mhm.
dyeing my hair, so I
Right.
like my gray. But I still, for myself, I will go and I will get my hair done and I will get it straightened. And then, but what I feel like is like in between getting it done by my stylist, I can do my hair on my own. Like, so I don't feel like I have to keep going into the salon to get it done, to
Mhm.
have it looking perfect. And clearly it doesn't look as fantastic as when Nicole does it, but I'm good with that. I'm good with
Mhm.
that. So I kind of think like I've given up with it's got to look perfect all the time sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the relaxer helped me feel like I was more coiffed. And
Mhm.
now today, like, you know, all of
I
these little
like I
things.
like my fuzzy hair. I
Yeah.
really do. I like
Yeah.
if you go back onto some of the YouTube recordings, like I have the headphones on and my like curls are poking up.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Oh,
I
but
actually like it.
Candy, come on. Your hair is so thick and it grows like nobody's business and it's beautiful. Mine grows like molasses and it does not have the thickness. So your curls are popping and mine are just trying. Mine are trying. But I'll get there. I'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So moving on, body health and honesty. Um, changes in energy, health, or body image. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Okay, changes in energy, health, or body images, navigating menopause. We know that to be true.
That's
We could
such a
talk.
heavy subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving from pushing your body to partnering with it.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I was never athletic. So and then when I tried to be athletic, it was always a failure. So I learned early on that my body couldn't do things that other people could do. It's been easy for me to recognize the limitations of my body. And I feel because I'm not athletic, I frequently didn't try. Like, remember when we went to Joshua Tree with
Mm-hmm.
Tracy and Kelly, and you guys
Mm-hmm.
were climbing, and I'm like, sweet Jesus, if I climb up, I'm gonna fall. And I'm like, on these rocks, there's gonna be a snake. So I think I put limitations on my body
Mm-hmm.
because I don't try because I'm like, I'm not gonna be good anyway, which is not a good thing. But like in terms of menopause, I know there are things that I can't do. Like there's never been a, oh my gosh, I used to be able to do it and now I can't. I couldn't do it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any limitations I put on my body. I think, just recognizing how your body's changing. I think, I gained a bunch of weight and I just thought it was menopause, but then I had to kind of say, it might be menopause, but this isn't good. And because
Right.
I don't want to live a life where you're constantly dieting or talking about food. I worked with this woman. She was obsessed with her body and food, and she was always commenting about what people were eating, like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
you bring a
Yeah.
salad, that's so good. I'm like, stop talking about my salad. Like, if I wanted to bring a cupcake, I would feel like I'm disappointing her.
Right.
But she
Yeah.
was putting her food issues on.
Yeah.
But just being mindful, not overindulging, and just kind of living in moderation and not
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nothing excessive. But then,
Right.
we are losing muscle mass, and we have to really do that weight bearing exercise. I used to
Yeah.
walk a lot with Miss Raina, but then when I found out she had really bad arthritis, and
Right.
the vet told me she really doesn't need to walk, because I just stopped going because I'm like, why am I walking? you know?
Right.
But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think being mindful, being particularly vigilant about getting your annual checkup and following up on those labs,
Yeah. Yeah. And
making sure your cholesterol's in check, your blood sugars are in check. That's important.
so I was just gonna say because I we have we're genetically predisposed
Predisposed.
to high cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
It's a familial thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently had some blood work done and my cholesterol was up and I mentioned it to Candy and she's like, "Well, I had to increase my dosage." So I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to my doctor and I said my sister had to increase her dosage.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, so I've got this issue. I know it's an issue, but I'm going to take those prescribed medications to help manage that. So I think that's very important to do. And just being and I know there are plenty of people who are like, oh, I don't want to do medicine, I don't want to do medicine, but they're
Good
I
for you.
yeah,
But
you know what, I can't wish the cholesterol away.
right.
And the thing is, I could lose weight and I could exercise every day, and the cholesterol is still going to be high because
Yeah.
I'm genetically
Yeah. It's
predisposed to
called
this.
familial hypercholesterolemia. There
Thank you.
are a lot of people who say So you have to take it for the rest of your life? Like they feel like having high cholesterol is like having strep throat. You just take it for a brief time, and
Right.
it's a thing that's your body, your genetically, it's your genetics.
Mhm.
You so what if you have to take it for the rest of your life? That to me is like people being bummed because they have to brush their teeth every day.
Right.
Your teeth
Mhm.
still get funky. You got to brush them. You have to bathe. You have to take your medication. Like, get over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many conditions are chronic, and it's something you deal with for the rest of your life. Now, you cannot do that and then suffer the consequences. That's
Mhm.
up to you, but it won't be me.
Right.
It will not be me. But I've been on cholesterol medication, anti cholesterol, since I was, after I had Yaya, since I was 37.
Okay, and I was later to the game. I think it's been like 2 years for me on
And
cholesterol
then
meds.
our brother has been taking medication for a long time. Like, he
And
started
Zachary.
before. Well, he has high cholesterol, but he doesn't take any
Right.
medication.
Right.
He doesn't need to yet.
Right.
And he is as thin as a rail.
This
Yeah.
exactly. So that familial thing.
Yeah.
So another thing I notice about like body and body image, my body has changed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Weight has been gained, things shift and move, and it's the stretch marks, well, that came from pregnancy, and how to love the body that you're in, right? You can't love the body that might be in a
Mm-hmm.
year if you lose x amount of weight. You got to be able to be comfortable and confident in the body that you're in. Yeah, if you need to exercise more, do it, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hate the vessel that you're
Yeah.
carrying. You don't
Yeah.
want to feel shame and embarrassment about this vessel. And sometimes it's hard to reconcile because I'm like, man, this package looks a little bit different today than it
Mm-hmm.
did before. But that's a part of the aging process, and I got to be grateful for my stretch marks because as a result I have these three wonderful children. um but also, I recognize that my body has changed in ways like I can't lose weight as easily as I did in the past. And my doctor has assured me like that's nothing to do with you. That's like the time of life, that's menopause and what
Mm-hmm.
have you. But what I have been doing is I started going back to the gym, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that strength training is very important, and I'm starting to do more and more weights. I do some cardio, I do some weights, and I'm not expecting to be Miss Olympia in another year, but I'm hoping that my body outwardly it might not look different, but internally it's going to be healthier. And so I need to be of that mindset that all right, I might not the physicality might not change so much, but the
Mm-hmm.
health is going to improve.
Yeah.
The strength is going to improve. So that's what I need to focus on and not get discouraged
Mm-hmm.
if there isn't a physical change. Yeah, so there's that one. Okay, you touched on this, Candy. Sisterhood, friendship, and evolving relationships. How your relationships with each other have changed over time, letting go of relationships that no longer align, the
Mm-hmm.
importance of community in this stage of life.
um, I used to be of the mindset that the friends I had were the friends I had, and I don't need any more. And 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, I opened myself to the possibility of developing additional friendships. And as a result, I have met a wide variety of people. I've formed sisterhood, support, a loving network of people who, because I mean, you're always going to be you, my sister, you're always going to be my main person, my support. But I have a network of
Mm-hmm.
people across the country who are willing to step in on my behalf
True.
to help with my kids, you know, Yaya, Boogie. I have people I can call if one of my kids is in crisis. And that's hugely important. Now, like the friends I've had from high school, I'm grateful for those friendships because that has evolved. We've grown, and there's so much love and there's so much history. And I recognize that I can't navigate life by myself.
Mm-mm.
Um, Although I do consider myself an introvert, I do have a circle of support, which just absolutely feels wonderful,
Yeah.
especially navigating parenting, motherhood, sometimes divorce, menopause, aging parents, death of parents, health crisis, change in finances. All of those things have happened to me, and I've had friends to lift me up during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. Um, I told you earlier that I had brunch with two of my oldest and dearest friends,
Mm-hmm.
Lauren and Suzanne, yesterday. Lauren has been on
Mm-hmm.
the podcast talking about friendship,
Yeah.
and we sat in this restaurant for like 4 hours.
I love those dates because we were talking earlier. You meet for brunch, but by the time you leave, you're hungry again. You could eat a
Right,
second time.
right,
Those those
right.
those are the best dates.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And
I remember I one time a friend when I was living in Texas came and we went out to dinner and we were there for so long that when I came home I had to eat again. I
yes,
was so hungry. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but it's, just sitting in that comfort of decades of closeness and that bond and watching our children grow up. I don't know. My heart was so full yesterday. It was
Mhm.
so full. The food was delicious, but the company, it just so special, so
Yeah.
special. And then I recognize now those two are going to be uh, there for forever.
Mhm.
But I also recognize, like, and we kind of alluded to this before, that sometimes friendships no longer align.
Mhm.
And when you recognize that this person served a purpose for a season, but that season has come to an end for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and being okay with that because you recognize that those values no longer align and that relationship no longer serves you. And maybe it's this political, well, I know it's this political climate that we're in that has made me have to step away and create healthier boundaries between myself and others that I don't feel are aligned with my views
Mhm.
on society and who is, leading the charge in this country. um, and part of that is like self-preservation,
Mhm.
but also like that acknowledgement, like, yeah, we're no longer on the same page.
Yeah.
um and it's better if I'm not in that company, um because I'm not going to stay quiet, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I don't want to go out and create drama all the time,
Mhm.
um so you know what, it's better if we just keep a healthy
Yeah.
distance.
You
And
can love people from far away.
yeah, and I know a number of people have shared that with me, um, about their relationship with others growing distance because of this political um, climate that we're in. Because again, the values no longer align. We are no longer on the same page. We might have history, but that's kind of where that relationship ends.
Yeah.
And being okay with that.
Yeah.
Being okay with that. Okay, so purpose reinvention, and it's not too late. Push against the idea that timelines are fixed. Career pivots, new passions, fear of change, examples of things you're still dreaming about. What does that look like for you?
This podcast is about all of that. We've talked
Yes,
about
it really
pivots.
is.
We've talked about pivots. We've talked about trying new things. We've talked about just pursuing new things, being unapologetic.
Mhm.
And I mentioned some of these things earlier. Um, like a couple months ago, I started baking sourdough bread. I love it. I love it. My work staff loves it. My kids love it. And this is something completely new, and I want to pull you in.
I know you
But
do. After your big
you know,
trip, I'll come and I'll get my starter.
I this is such a wonderful time of my life, and I'm so grateful that I have the health to do what I need to do. I'm so grateful that I have the financial means and the job that will let me do this. But I feel really grateful that I'm able to pursue things outside of the office. I have that work life balance
Mhm.
that allows me to take on a sewing project, redo my kitchen, take the kids on a big trip, um, write a book, um, start this podcast.
Yeah.
It's, I've always been a creative person, but then, that hasn't died because obviously practicing the monologue in my office for a non existence circumstance,
Right.
that I need that. I need that.
Yeah, my
But
sister, she's dramatic.
but I'm just really happy with the stage of life I'm in.
Yeah.
I really am, and I'm just grateful that the Lord has seen fit to keep me alive to this point, and grateful that we still have our mother. You
Mhm.
know, I walk in gratitude on a daily basis. Just if
Yeah.
I'm going outside and I look at the flowers and like I can name the flowers or I can teach the kids about something. It's just so wonderful. I'm not traveling with a diaper bag. Remember those diaper bag days where you'd have to bring clothes in case they have a blowout, bring
Clothes
clothes in
and
case.
snacks and emergency medication and
Right.
the stroller and
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I just leave the house with my purse. That's it.
Mhm.
And there's freedom in that.
So, one of the things that says here, examples of things you're still dreaming about. Um, and it's not still dreaming about, it's a dream for my future. And I'm going to tell you a real dream. I know my children aren't ready to have children, but I am looking forward to that period in my life where I am that grandmother. Uh, and I had a dream candy. So I was outside in my front yard with a little girl, and I know the little girl, but it was like in my mind, this was my granddaughter. And she said that she needed to wee wee. And I
Hmm.
said, well, wee wee. She's like, we're outside. I'm like, we're in our yard, wee wee.
This
So
isn't Jamaica.
so so I said, we'll do it together. So we both start, we pull our pants down and we're wee weeing in the yard. And at the same time, like a bus passes by and she is giggling, just giggling so much that we're just wee weeing in the yard. And it was like, I look forward to those giggle with my future grandchildren. I
Hmm.
look forward to being like silly and stupid and joyful and ridiculous and saying, "Yeah, we can wee wee right here."
Hmm.
But it was such a sweet dream. I had this on Friday morning, and it's so I am dreaming of that future
Hmm.
of grandmotherhood.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm there with you.
I know. You have a closet full of clothing for your future grandbabies.
The cutest stuff.
The cutest stuff.
The cutest stuff.
Yeah.
And I started following this woman on Facebook. She made clothing for kids. Remember when we used to have the dresses with the smocking
Oh, of
and then
course.
and then it would have little like rosebuds along the
Embroidered
yeah,
into
and
it.
so
Yes.
I've started following her because I'm like, maybe I can make some cute stuff for my grandbabies. And I
Yeah.
have fabric that I've purchased to make things for my yet to be conceived
And
grandchildren.
people recognize none of our children are in a place where they're getting married
No,
anytime soon.
no, no.
But Candy and I, we have these daydreams
Mm-hmm.
of these
Yeah,
babies.
yeah.
Okay, so let's do one more. Um, let's do this one. Letting go and what that makes space for. Releasing expectations, roles, and identities. Grieving versions of yourselves while becoming new ones. And what you've outgrown and how that feels.
When I was married, the husband used to speak frequently about this period in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
How when the kids are gone, we're going to travel. And I'm like, what are you doing talking? He's like, no, sweetie, it's going to be fun. And it didn't cross my mind. And then now that I'm here, I sometimes think, wow, you left before any of it, and I mourn that time. I mourn that, like, traveling with a spouse,
Mm-hmm.
but I've also let go, of that expectation of, and then when I was newly divorced, it was really nice to think about, like, finding a new dude, but like, I, it just feels to be encumbered and have a man have expectations of me feels oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be a stepmother. I don't want to be taking care of anybody. I want to take care of myself and pay attention to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the person I was. So I've let go of those, and I don't feel sad. I feel free. Because somebody at work said, Dr. Grant, you wouldn't get married again if, like, the guy was so nice and he was such a good man and he was just wonderful, but, like, he didn't make really good money. I'd be like, I couldn't love him. I couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
because because that would mean that I'm taking care of him,
Right.
and I'm not taking care of anybody else. And a lot of women my age have come, many women who are divorced say they never want to get married, but many men who are divorced are seeking another partner. And
Right.
is it because they want to be a husband, or is it because they want a built-in caregiver?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I don't want to care for anybody. So I've let go of that aspect of my life, and I'm really happy. Yeah, I have times of loneliness and things like that, but I think the loneliness is way better than some man asking me what's for dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm looking at these prompts, grieving versions of yourself.
Judy, we've been talking for 57 minutes. Let's wrap it up.
Oh,
I
geez.
have,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I have to go to estate sales.
All right. Well, that's it then. All right,
Yeah.
Jusoka.
All
Thank you
right.
for joining
Peace
us.
out.
Yeah. All right, Candy, how can folks reach us?
TwoSokaPodcast@gmail.com, Two Sisters of a Certain Age on Insta, and Two Soka on YouTube.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
No Longer Network.